So Justin, ayan. So good afternoon to everybody. So welcome to our orientation day slash if ever lecture day. So welcome to your quality assurance, instrumentation and laboratory entrepreneurship lecture. I will be handling the lecture part. Okay. So my name is Jomar Adams Ganding for those of you who doesn't know me, and if it is your first time to be under my class, since first year, welcome to the class. So most of you are actually my student in HIS before. So I remember most of you. Okay, so I think some are coming in pa. So again, good afternoon to everybody. So before I proceed, I just first want to introduce myself. So I am Jomer Adams Ganding and I'll be handling your lecture. Have you met your laboratory, by the way? Have you met your lab, Heather?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for the laboratory, it will be Ma'am Faye Rubico. For the meantime, and Ma'am Rona Trinidad. So we'll be your professors in Quale, lecture, and laboratory. So for this afternoon, I'll be giving you a rough overview of our course, and at the same time, I don't know if you already have checked your TLC. I think I already have uploaded some of the materials that we will be using. The syllabus, the calendar of lecture activities, all are already posted there. Okay. So moving forward, so quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship. As I would always say in my other classes, this is actually like a window. Okay? This is a window to most of your clinical subjects in just a few months now. In just a few months, you'll be under your clinical years. You'll be handling your clinical subjects. Hopefully, we'll be able to go back to the physical classes by that time. But for now, okay, for now, Quale would actually give you a taste of your clinical subjects. So when I say clinical subjects, it would actually range from your clinical chemistry, your clinical hematology, clinical bacteriology, parasitology, histopathology, even your immunology, serology, and even blood banking, and clinical microscopy will all be having a fair share of their introduction in your quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship. So before I start, there's one thing that I want to emphasize. The reason why I'm sharing again the vision of Trinity University of Asia. So our vision as a university is to become a premier Christian university in Asia and the Pacific, transforming a community of learners as leaders towards a humane society. So one thing that I really want to emphasize in this particular in this particular vision is transforming each and every one of you as learners becoming now leaders. Okay? And maybe most of you will be wondering once again who are you going to lead in this time, because you are in your homes and you won't be doing much of the physical group activities that would require leading other people, but we are actually forgetting one person. Okay, and that is ourselves. So one of the person, I always believe that one of the hardest person to lead would always be ourselves. And the reason why I'm highlighting and emphasizing on this one this afternoon is because for the course of for the entire 18 weeks of our course, okay, much of the self leadership will really be tested. Okay, so I don't know what works for you last semester, but whatever things you did last sem that worked, then repeat it again, do it again, and perhaps improve some of them. But if a lot of things that you tried before, okay, last semester did not work out, well, it's time to actually reflect and really look for the things that would work for you this semester. Okay? There is no assurance and there is no guarantee that we will be back physically next semester. But one thing is for sure, okay? One thing is for sure. For as long as we're here in this online platform, it will be a shared responsibility, as always, naman, of the professor and also each of every one of you. Each student would also have to lead themselves in their academic journey. Okay? Having said that now, a lot of the things that we will be doing here, syempre, di ba, you are behind your cameras, and if you cannot turn on your camera, I cannot even see if you're really attentively listening to the lectures, or you're just lying, watching TikTok, scrolling around your Instagram while having class. Well, that's up to you already. Okay? But one thing is for sure, okay? One thing is for sure. Quale might be challenging, okay? Quale might be a challenging subject, but if you really invest, okay, if you really invest your attention and also your determination and devotion to it, I guess it won't be a problem for you at all. Okay? And having said that, you've heard me say that this is an introduction to your clinical subjects. Okay? This is an introduction to your clinical subjects. But before we go further, okay, let us first go through the mission of our university, which is to promote the formation of citizens who are integrity developed, competent, productive, and socially responsible. So I believe, and I actually have heard a lot of good remarks about your batch last semester in your HAP and all of your other subjects. So I'm quite expecting as well here in Quale. So I've also known some of you who've really been very much consistent since your first year, first semester. So I am very much excited not only to be um teaching you things on Quale, but also to from learning from each and every one of you. Okay? So without further ado, let us go and proceed with your quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship. What is Quali all about? Okay, so a more technical and a more formal introduction. So Quali is actually the course code of our Quali is CMT Elect. Okay, CMT Elect 2. So its title is Quality Assurance, Instrumentation, and Laboratory Entrepreneurship. So for the entire 18 weeks, we will be spending 2 hours per week. Yes, 2 hours per week. So we will only be meeting once a week. So for most of my classes, we are finished with the orientation last week already. That's why this week we're actually gonna start with our lectures already. So since we were not able to meet last Monday, okay, since we were not able to meet last Monday, I would have to go through this orientation first before pushing through with the lectures. Do not worry because you will not be left behind with the lectures because majority of the lectures are actually handled by yours truly. Okay? So we have a lecture and a laboratory part. Later, I'll be presenting to you how you will be graded for the entire semester. So, quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship, or QUALE, okay, in short, is actually actually divided into three major parts. Okay, so for the entire semester, we will be discussing about quality assurance. We will be talking about instrumentation. And on the latter part, we will be talking about laboratory entrepreneurship. Perhaps a lot of you have already heard about quality assurance and quality control because quality assurance is not just exclusive to the medical field. The moment you go to some restaurant, people asking you answering a survey about customer satisfaction is actually an example of quality assurance. If you go to the mall, okay, if you go to the mall, you would see there you would see there um, stations for customer service. All of those are for quality assurance. If you go to the factory, okay, if you go to the factory, before the products are shipped into the different convenience store or different resellers, okay, or different department stores, they need to pass a quality control check, a quality assurance check, and that in itself is part of quality assurance. So, taking it into the outside perspective first, quality assurance actually is concerned of how products are made, how products are processed, and how products are being experienced by its consumers. Okay? But we're not talking about business or marketing here. we're talking about medical results. So in the clinical laboratory, what is quality assurance? Have you ever wondered how medical technologists, how doctors are very much sure of all the results in the paper? Take for example, okay? Take for example, you have results for CBC, and it says there your patient only had 80 um 80 times 10 to the 9 power per liter of platelets. How would you be sure that that result is actually reliable? How would you be sure that that result would actually help the physician, the doctors, come up with the right diagnosis? Again, to answer that, that is all about quality assurance. So in our course, so from prelims and midterms, we will be talking about quality assurance, so the total quality management. So the total quality management is not just about products, it's not just about services, but it's also about test results. It's also about diagnosis. It's also about getting a particular level of confidence interval, and also making sure that all of the tests and all of the results that you will be releasing out of the clinical laboratory is accurate and precise. Okay, so accurate and precise. So that is about quality assurance. So maybe some of you have been wondering, oh nga no, parang paano nga kaya sigurado na when a doctor said that your sugar is 210 milligrams per deciliter, they can say that you are candidate for diabetes and you have to go through series of tests. How are they able to do that? Okay? Maybe some of you would be saying, ah, kasi sir, there is a reference interval, value, which they compare the results to. Yeah, that's correct. That's true. That's a piece of the puzzle. But again, how are you sure that the 210 is actually is your patient's um, result? Again, it will be discussed, and it will be solved as we go along through our subject. By the way, if you have any questions or clarifications, okay, feel free to use the chat box so that I'll be able to address some of your questions along the way. Of course, moving on, okay, going back to my chit chat, if we are having your quality assurance, we also have your instrumentation. And this is not to discourage, or this is not to scare anyone, but instrumentation, even before in the third year, is really one of the challenging part of learning, or challenging part of understanding the certain topic. First and foremost, because a lot of these concepts, a lot of these instruments, we won't just be talking about how they release a result or what are the results they release. We also have to look deeper into how they are able to release such results. So take for example, okay, I believe that most of you are very much acquainted with the microscope by this time, and I'm hoping that you really are very much well versed and acquainted with our microscope, not only because it's a symbol of our profession, but because we will be using it for most of the time inside the clinical laboratory. Which leads me to my first question this semester. What is that number one characteristic of your microscope that should always be there, innate in each and of every microscope, and also into every medical technology? So can somebody put it on the chat box? What is that characteristic? Okay, I'm seeing answers already. There's only four. Okay, so that's correct. Okay? A microscope should always be parfocal. Okay? The microscope should always be parfocal. But at the end of this quality, assurance, instrumentation, and lab entrepreneurship, our goal is not just to be acquainted with microscope and not to memorize its part, its vital characteristic being parfocal, but also but also being acquainted with all the other instrument in the laboratory. So if you have heard of spectrophotometry, the Beers law, electrophoresis, immunoassay, the labeled and the unlabeled one, the RT-PCR, reagent strips, the refractometer, all of those things we will be discussing all throughout this semester. Okay? And my goal, okay, as early as now, I want us to set our relationship properly. I don't want a complicated relationship, okay? So when we go to class, okay, when we go to class, I am not your enemy that you need to defeat. I am not also some expectators that you need to impress. Rather, we are a team here. So consider me being a coach that would help you not just learn in this course, not just pass this course, but to be excellent in this course. Okay, to be excellent in this course. All throughout my quale, my personal goal each and every time is for me to be able, okay, is for me to be able to simplify even the most complicated concept that we are going to talk about here in Quale. Okay? Because I always believe, if isn't it, okay, when you read a book, it seems like it's hieroglyphics, you cannot understand the concept right then and then. But then if some people would actually explain it to you in an easier way, okay, give you examples and analogy that are really happening in front of you that you can relate to, then you would be able to understand the concept much better. Okay? Much na better pa. Okay? So starting next week, hopefully we'll be able to start with our discussions already. Okay? So going back. So that is quality assurance and that is instrumentation. During the instrumentation part, we will not just be talking about the one clinical section, but we'll be talking about all other sections in the laboratory. Okay, and of course, in the latter part of our course, we will be talking about laboratory entrepreneurship. And here, we'll be giving you the basics of entrepreneurship and establishing your own clinical laboratory. Okay? Your own clinical laboratory. So by the end of our 18 weeks, okay, our 18 weeks lecture and your 18 weeks laboratory, our goal is for you to be able now to elucidate the core concept of QA in the clinical laboratory. And by the way, okay, the one I am presenting right now on your screen, the CLO, sir, maybe some of you would be wondering, ano ba yan? Babasahin lang naman namin yan. No, okay? This is actually your gauge. These are like each of them are like your criteria. Okay? Each of those criterion, you would actually reflect on that, okay, and by prelims, by midterms, and by finals, so that you'd be able to assess yourself, am I near this CLOs already? Am I near this course learning outcomes already? So I believe some of you, okay, would really be very much goal oriented, that you want to see what should we expect, okay, from this course, should you expect from me, and what you should expect from yourselves by the end of this course. So the first one there being to able to elucidate the core concept of quality assurance in the clinical laboratory. So have you heard of internal QC and external QC already? Can I see a raise of hand if that is a familiar term? I am saying internal QC or intra laboratory quality control, and your external or your inter laboratory quality control. Are those terms familiar to you? Can I see a raise of hands if it is familiar from your PMLSP one supposedly? Hello? Okay, Heather raised her hand. Who else? Okay, is it only Heather who remembered that? Okay. I can also see Descano, Desca, si Jace, Descalzo, okay. Even Celestial, okay, also raise her hand. Okay, thank you so much. I can also see Precious raising her hand as well. Thank you so much. So I'll call one of you, of course. If you raise your hand, you're familiar with it. So you should be able to not only be familiar with it, but also have an idea and explain it this afternoon. So Heather, okay, Heather, can you please share to the class what can you remember? Okay, what can you remember about internal QC and external QC? Go ahead and
Ah,
unmute your mic.
sir, actually we discussed yung internal and external quality
Mm-hmm.
control kasi we were reviewed by Sir Nathan like last
Mm-hmm.
week. So he mentioned that internal quality control is when the personnel within the lab uh, do their daily uh, check on the instruments if they're
Mm-hmm.
at par with the standards. And external quality control is when people outside the lab go and check it. It's not daily, it's like random ganun po. To check if
Okay.
ano siya, parang abot siya sa standard ng like national standard. Ganun po.
Yun. Okay. Thank you so much, Heather. Ayan, so very well said. So yeah, that's true. Okay, when it comes to internal, okay, so good enough that you had a review. I think with your PMLSP one, PMLSP two, no. So good that you had a quick review on that, and if before we're only just basing it on the definition, here in Quali we'll actually try to do it on our own. Okay, but in the course of the semester you'll be able to actually interpret results and even charts that would say, okay, this results here are in control, these are good, this could be released now, these results are erroneous, we have violated a rule, so hence we need to recalibrate. And I heard Heather mentioning about checking the quality of your instrument. Okay, that's very important because please take down note, okay, that in quality assurance, in quality control, we will actually be checking three major components. Okay, three major components of a particular laboratory. And that is number one. Okay, let's start with what Heather mentioned, the instrument. Okay, we will actually be checking the quality of the instrument or the machine. Secondly, we will be checking the quality of our reagents. Okay, the reagents, the different chemicals we use in the measurement of a particular analyte. And of course, last but definitely not the least, okay, is also in checking the what? The competence of your medical technologists. So in quality control, okay, adding into what Heather said that we are checking the instrument, we are also checking the quality, the stability of your reagents and your chemicals, and also the competence of each medical technologist. Okay? So, internal QC, you do it every single day. As I always say to my classes, okay, before everything else, okay, before everything else in the laboratory, the first thing that you would do, of course, aside from turning on the lights in the lab and turning on your machine, is actually doing your internal QC. This is always the first thing that you need to do before running your patient sample. Okay, and that in itself, okay, would enable you to know if you can proceed with the testing because your machine, your reagents, and your medtech are all within your standards. With regards to your external QC, okay, we will be explaining it further because external QC, if you still remember all the national reference laboratory, they're actually the ones sending in samples rather. So what we do there, they actually send samples. Okay, it's like an unknown. They give you samples, and then in your laboratory, you will be performing that. So take for example, Pauline has her own laboratory. Okay, De Los Reyes has her own laboratory. Tanya has her own laboratory, and then Jace also has her own laboratory. All of those four laboratories will be receiving the same. Okay, they will be receiving the same sample, and then they will all be running those samples. And the reason why it is an inter laboratory quality control is that the authorities, okay, the National Reference Laboratory, would now compare your result from laboratory A, from laboratory B, from laboratory C. And maybe some of you will be asking, Sir, are we being compared to all the laboratories in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao? And the answer would be a big yes. Okay? That is why your external quality control, also known in some references as your proficiency testing, is very important in the renewal of most of your licenses to operate a laboratory. Okay? So hopefully you have a an idea already of what we're gonna talk about in the coming days. So with what I mentioned, okay, with what I mentioned, we're just defining and explaining how things are done. Okay? But in the coming days, okay, in the coming days, we are going to look into we're going to look into the different components of quality assurance so that by the end of the semester, you would be able to identify them and explain them yourselves. Okay? So moving on, okay, you should also be able to explain the importance of quality assurance in each of the laboratory section. And perhaps I can ask some opinions this afternoon, isn't it? So let me hear it from Joseph. Parang si Joseph at saka si Mab lang ang ano dito. Parang, ayan. Joseph Engdalan. Am I saying it Engdalan?
England, sir. Yes, sir. You are
Engdalan.
correct.
Okay. For you, Joseph, why is quality assurance important in the clinical laboratory?
Sir, of course, quality assurance is very, very important in the laboratory because we perform tests,
Mm,
we perform standardized tests.
mm.
So, assurance of the quality must always be um, checked. At ayun po, kaya siya super importante. Maliban po doon, dahil sa field po natin ay we cater patients, we uh, test patients. Usually po, yung mga tinitest natin ay vital para po sa kanilang kaligtasan. Yun po.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I like what he said about standardized tests, okay? Because in the coming days, you would hear me say that many times, okay? I always say standard, how you treated patient number one, should also be the very same treatment up until patient 1001. Okay? So, that's how important standardization is. Okay? In the laboratory. Hindi yung kunwari, pag beshi mo yung sample, okay, beshi ko to, uunahin ko na i-run, bibilisan mo isa, i-process, eto na agad yung resulta. Tapos nakita mo, yung kagalit mo naman yung sumunod na pasyente. Okay, tabi nyo lang muna siya dyan. Okay? It's not the case. Okay? It's not the case in the laboratory. So, how you treated one sample should always and forever be your treatment to all samples. Okay? It should always be standardized. And taking it up from what Joseph said on the latter part of his answer, okay, about patient safety. That's very true. Okay? Have you ever imagined the weight in our shoulders each and every time we are counting every single platelet? Ako personally, when I was in the laboratory and counting platelets manually because I have to double check it manually after the machine release. Sabi mo na, 'di ba? We have patients before 10 na lang yung nilalabas ng machine na platelets niya. And those are during dengue season. Okay? And while counting, 'di ba? While counting, you have to really count every single thing. Okay? You really need to be um accurate in your counting because why? People are relying in our results. So when you say, no, it's actually not 10, it's actually 150. 150 is low, but it's actually within the reference range. So the doctor would assume that okay, the patient is actually doing quite well. Okay? And then of course, the succeeding patient management with the diagnosis, with the treatment, and eventually the possible treatment and medication of your patient will all rely in our results. So imagine that, 'di ba? Imagine if one day tinatamad ka mag-run ng samples and then you said, "Okay, just run it in the machine without checking the QC, without checking the standards." Okay? Even without as simple as as simple as even checking the test tube of your patient, di ba? So all those things are very crucial. Okay? And I hope I am giving justice to its importance, okay? In the clinical laboratory. Okay? So moving on, 'di ba? Masyadong nadala yung emotion ko doon, ha. So moving on, number 4 is for you guys to elucidate the principles and uses of different instrumentation used in the clinical laboratory. I always believe that in this time and age, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, a lot of things will even get easier for us. One click, di ba? Baka nga dumating yung oras, voice command na yung mga machine. Sasabihin na lang nila Marijo, okay? Okay, Siri, please run the CBC right now and print the result. Who knows, di ba? Sooner than later, we all have those technologies already. But one thing is for sure, okay? One thing is for sure, and one thing that I always want you guys to remember is that no matter how easy things are, okay? Gaano man yan kadali at kabilis sa tingin natin, the concept and the principle embedded in it is not as simple as those click and touch on the screen. Okay? That is the reason why, okay, here in our course, we will still be discussing the instrumentation down to their very principle. Bakit nga ba alam ng machine bilangin yung asukal sa katawan mo, yung taba sa katawan mo? How are they able to calculate, compute that, and say, okay, you have a fatty liver. Okay, you have your myocardial infarction. Okay, you have kidney disease. How are we able to say that? Okay? And eventually, di ba, why is it very important for you to be able to explain the principle? Because, lagi ko ang sinasabi, di ba, for you to know, minsan kasi sasabihin natin, okay, madali na lang yung intindihin, madali na lang basahin yung results, but when you go deeper into that, di ba, you would realize how these results are being produced by your machines. So we're gonna dissect a spectrophotometer down to its every component. If you have heard from your seniors, we will be talking about light source, the monochromators, okay? So actually, if you want to have a fast track, you can actually watch a lot of videos because last time in our quale, we uploaded a lot of videos about that. But we're gonna discuss it even further and in more detail this time. Okay? So hopefully you'll enjoy not just reading it, but actually discovering, okay, that's how it happened pala within that machine. Because if you're gonna look at the machine, it's just like a big chunk of electronics in the laboratory. But if you go deeper into that, if you dissect it, you would realize that it actually holds the very basic principles that we all know. Okay? And of course, maybe in reality, no, a lot of you would be going into, I don't know where will you be practicing medical technology in the future, but ito yung laging sinasabi ng mga mentors ko before, even my professors. They always say na hindi mo mapipili yung laboratory at yung gamit na nandun sa laboratory when you apply there. You cannot go to a laboratory and apply for work and tell them, do you have this automated machine? Do you have this automated machine na pindot-pindot ka lang and then may results na? Well, in reality, not all laboratories are like that. Some medtechs need to count each and every cell every single time. Okay? So those are very important. And we need not to only be acquainted with the advancement, but most importantly, rather, the basic when it comes to clinical laboratory diagnosis. Moving on, okay, of course, you'll be able to identify the principles, the nitty-gritty details about each and every instrumentation, but it's as equal importance to be able to manage and operate them properly. I know this would be one, okay? This would be one of the limitations that we have in this online platform, But always remember, ladies and gentlemen, that sooner than later when we go back, all of these things will be incorporated to you so that you'll be able, okay, you will be able to identify, okay, you'd be able to identify um, the things that you need to learn and things that you need to master as we go along. Okay, and last but definitely not the least is to be able to elucidate the importance of entrepreneurship in the world of healthcare. So, who knows, 'di ba? Baka mamaya madaan na lang tayo sa laboratory ng inyong inyong classmate. Kunwari si Lian, meron na pala siyang sarili niyang laboratory. Okay, si Ali. Okay? Parang wala si Sofia. Sooner than later, meron na rin pala siyang sarili niyang laboratory o sila Mav dun sa may Marikina o di ba? Meron na silang kanya-kanya nilang mga laboratories. So you can actually explore that. Okay? So in a nutshell, we'll be talking about quality assurance. Okay? I know this picture to you seems so puzzling. You don't know what is it all about. You don't know what these green dots are all about and what those red dots are all about. But I assure you that by the end of the preliminary, you'll be able to interpret it yourself and identify the errors violated and the rules rather that were violated and the errors committed in the test. Also, this is a picture of your spectrophotometer from its light source, its monochromator, entrance slit, its sample cuvette, the exit slit, the photo detector, the readout device, and the readout device, and also how this particular apparatus and instrument is able to come up with a particular concentration of your analytes. And of course, last but not the least, is of course coming up and establishing your own clinical laboratory in the future. So I hope that excites you. So let's go now to the course requirement. So the course requirements are still the same with all of your other subjects, your major examinations. Later, I'll be explaining some of the changes that will be happening. We have online quizzes, journal readings, chapter readings and assignments, group discussions. Okay? Not only in the lecture, but also in the laboratory. For the journal reading, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be sending in to you the if you have checked, by the way, have you checked your TLC na? Did you check your TLC? Can I see a raise of hands if you check your TLC? Okay. Do you see stuff there already? The let's get started area where you'll be able to go through each and every one of that. Okay. So you have there your course syllabus already. You have there the calendar of activities. Wala pa daw. Do you see it already? Have you checked it? Some of you, Heather, Joseph, have you checked it already? They raised their hand eh. Did you see what I am saying na?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Nakita
po,
ko po.
meron.
Ayan, meron na. Pao, you check ha if you are enrolled in the quale of 2MTO2. Double check mo. Lecture dapat ha, lecture. Okay? Because I'm only managing the lecture courseware. So I made sure that all of the things that you need will already be there, our schedules, even the guidelines for the journal critiquing. So for the journal critiquing, just a advance announcement. So I actually scheduled the submissions in the midterms and a week before the midterms and a week before the finals. Okay, so those journal critiquing, we will only be having two. So for the topics, I'll be announcing it as we go along in our course. Okay? So by the way, I will be giving you the liberty kasi to choose what topic you will be having for your journal critiquing. I will just be guiding you onto what to find, where to find it, and from what list of topics are you going to choose from. Okay? So we also have reading assignments and chapter readings and assignments and also seat works. So I'm very much fond of putting up discussion board by the end of the lecture. Okay? I'll be two-way yun eh. Okay? I'm actually posting questions and you guys can also post your own questions there, and I will be answering your questions, and all of those will be collated so that all of you, if you want, if, take for example, you're studying a particular topic and then you remember that it was actually asked in our discussion board, you can actually go back to that and check the answers and explanation for it. Okay? So far, do you have any questions with the course requirements that we will be having this semester? Are there any questions? Okay. Are there any questions so far? So can I see a raise of hand if everything is clear so far? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you, thank you. So moving on, so our schedule for our course, okay, our schedule is always Monday, 3 to 5 p.m. I don't know if there are a lot of holidays in Monday, but I will do my best to actually, I will do my best for your section not to be behind with with other sections. Okay, so right now I'm actually handling sections one, sections one, two, and I think that's five. Okay, one, two, five. I'm handling one, two, five this time. So hopefully, we'll be able to ano. And by the way, okay, by the way, every single meeting, all our discussions are actually recorded. You'll be having a copy of the lecture PowerPoint beforehand, before the start of this, before the start of our class, and you'll be having a recorded video of our lecture after the class. Okay, just give me a couple of hours before I'll be able to upload it. Okay, before I'll be able to upload it, kasi what I do, okay, in other sections, I actually download it and upload it in YouTube. By the way, in your class, let's have a votation on the chat box. Where do you prefer your videos be uploaded? In the Google Drive or in YouTube? Pili na lang kayo, G Drive or YouTube. I'm giving you the liberty. G Drive daw, G Drive. Okay, no problem. Okay. So, if G Drive won in our votation now, there is no problem with it. I'll just be sending you the link. Okay? I'll just be sending you the link. So, hopefully, it's playing sa inyo, ha? So, you have the experience naman there if it's playing. Okay? Because you don't have access to other videos of other sections. Only your classes um, video. Okay? So, thank you so much. So, that would settle it. So, for the grading system, ayan, for the grading system, question, what do you think is the passing rate? What is the passing grade for Quale this sem? What is the passing grade? Any idea? On the chat box, please. Ay, 75%, 75%, 70%. Okay? Okay. So thank you for these answers. So 75% naman talaga yung passing natin. That is the equivalent of tres, 'di ba? That is the equivalent of tres. But that is just a transmuted. The passing rate is actually 70%. So, okay. This is not a grade conscious tip but actually a responsible student tip, okay? You always have to make sure, okay, to monitor your grades. Okay? When I was in college, I always compute my grade, okay? So I don't get surprised when my professor actually give me my scores or my grade. I actually got surprised pag it's too far from it's too far from the one I computed. Syempre pag mataas, wala nang issue-issue 'yon. So sige, thank you sir, thank you ma'am. Pag mababa, 'di ba? Then what I actually computed kasi I monitor even my scores ganyan. I asked, 'di ba? I asked, "Sir, bakit yung tinuturuan ko po mas mataas pa sa score, mas mataas pa sa grade ko?" Sir, examples like that, okay? So, I'm not teaching you to be a notorious grade conscious, no, because nobody loves that. But what I'm just trying to say is that I want you guys to be, kasi every now and then, no, ang daming, parang alam niyo yun, ang daming wrong idea about students that are grade conscious. Well, I think no, every one of us should be grade conscious because we're paying money, 'di ba? You're spending a lot for your school. So, you really need to be conscious of how you are doing in the class. Hindi nagugulat ka. Dapat walang element of surprise sa grade. Why? Kung may element man ng surprise, it's a good surprise. Okay? Because even before I complete the assessment of you guys, you already know how you did in a particular quiz. Okay? How you did in a particular exam. You already know that. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here and what I'm trying to get across is that I want you to always make sure na do your best. Okay? Each one of you, do your best to always reach that 70% mark. Okay? To always reach that 70% mark. Na whatever happens, di ba? Dapat laging nasa at least 70%. Kung 1 to 100 yung exam, you get 70 over 100. I remember during my time, okay, our passing grade was 75. And that 75 was actually base zero. So kung zero ka talaga. 'Di ba? So kung 75 dapat kunwari in a 15 item quiz, you should I should get 11 over 15. And there were times really that it was really hard. I will get 9 over 15. Tapos I would get discouraged kasi during that time parang feeling ko I'm not getting the results that I wanted kahit nag-aral na ako ng legit at talagang hindi na natutulog. May mga ganun talagang moments, guys. But I tell you, no, do not give up in times like that because I always believe that for us to be able to graduate with colors, the colors. It's not always intelligence. That is the name of the game. Okay? Sometimes it will be your tenacity. Okay? Yung tenacity that no matter what happened, you would get up again, take the quiz, and it's another chance and opportunity for you to pass. Okay? It's another opportunity for you to pass. And I know, di ba, perhaps a lot of you went through a lot of difficult times during the last semester. I get that. I totally understand that. But look at where you are right now, 'di ba? You're sitting in or maybe you're standing up kasi nangangalay ka na in your second semester classes this time. And who would have thought, 'di ba, that we would all survive that first semester. So, it was a difficult time with all the uncertainties. But right now, 'di ba? Um, hopefully you'd be able to say to yourself, kaya ko naman pala, 'di ba? Kaya ko naman pala. So, I'm very excited for you kasi, 'di ba? For most of you, yung iba sa inyo, um, yung mga magagaslaw pa noon dun sa HIS lab nung handle ko, 'di ba? Now you're actually very close into your clinical years, 'di ba? And that excites me as well. So always make sure na pag sinasabi ni Sir Ganding na always make sure, I am also very much aware na it will not always be the case. 'Di ba? Wala namang sigurong nilalang dito na never na experience bumagsak sa quiz, 'di ba? Pero if there's one thing siguro na I want to share to you guys, no, yung bilis natin mag-move on sa isang bagay para yung focus mo, yung lakas mo, yung talino mo nakafocus na sa susunod na exam na hindi mo lang basta ipapasa, ipa-perfect mo pa. Ganun na lang lagi yung attitude, 'di ba? It's all about attitude din minsan eh. If I fail ngayon, no, okay lang 'yan. May susunod pa na quiz, 'di ba? That should always be our attitude. So going back, okay, our passing rate is 70%. Lecture and laboratory would have their own share of your grades, but 60% will be coming from me, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, will be coming from the lecture part. So the lecture part is divided into two very important components: your class standing, which is 60%, and your major exams, which is a total of 40%. Yes, mga kuya, mga ate, 40%. So your class standing is divided into your quizzes, which is 30%, your recitation and class participation of 10%, And journal critiquing, case analysis, group discussion, and even your seat work will fall into this category and will be having 20% of your total grades. Okay? So having said that now, okay, I want you to look at this. Makikita mo pa lang, okay, 70% of your grade will be coming from you. 30% of your grade will be coming from your classmates. And 20% will be coming from you. Most of your quizzes, you need to do very, very well. Okay? In every quizzes, in every exams, you really need to do your best. I know sometimes our best are not pare-parehas. Sometimes your best is 10 over 10. Sometimes our best looks like 5 over 10. But what I want you guys to do is to always give your best. Okay? Hindi ko sinabi sa inyo na to always perfect the quiz, di ba? What I said is for you to always give your best. Because at the end of the day, di ba? Ano man ang grade na lumabas dyan, if you know you did your best, and that's already your best, wala tayong magiging talo. Wala kang what ifs, di ba? Kung yung ex mo, madami kang what ifs, pues sisiguraduhin natin ngayon dito sa Quale, wala kang what if pagkatapos ng May. Kasi talagang lahat ng pwedeng mapiga at maibuhos, maibibigay natin. Okay? So, and yan, so that would be the component of our grades. So 40% will be coming from the midterms. We'll be having our midterm grade consultation. And 50% will be coming from your tentative final grade. And then the 10% attendance for a total of 100%. Okay? So, are there any questions so far? Do we have any questions, clarification that you want to ask with regards to the grading system, with the things that I already have talked about? Are there any questions so far? Okay. Gising pa ba kayo or inagaw na kayo ng kadiliman?
All clear naman po, sir.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Okay. So thank you so much. Okay. So moving on. Okay, moving on. So this would be the rating sheet, the rubrics for your written report. Okay, for your journal critiquing. These are actually included in your syllabus. So you can check your syllabus there. This is the criteria for recitation. So 1 through 10. So I want you to take a look at it and actually check on how you are being graded during the recitation. So personally, I will be asking a lot of questions. So I like the fun. I'm very much fond of actually asking questions. Tapos isa-isa kayong nagko-comment din sa chat box so that I would know. Sabi ko nga lagi, kahit huli yung sagot mo, sige, i-type mo yan at i-enter mo. Okay? Para alam mo sa sarili mo na alam mo din yung sagot. Okay? So, moving on, okay? So, if you don't have any questions, let's go now to the policies of virtual classes. I know this has been mentioned to you countless time last week and also this week, but I will repeat it again, okay? So, first and foremost, every one of you guys should sign in to the class before our class R, which is 3 p.m. Question, are you coming from a different class before ako or do you have a break in between? What is your class bago ako?
PMLS po, sir.
PMLS, that is from what time?
Ano po? 1 to 3 po.
1 to 3. So, dire-diretso pala tayo. Okay? After Quale, what is your subject?
PE po.
Ay, PE. Okay, excited kayo mag-gymnastics. Okay. So, PE na pala. Okay. Paano kayo mag-volleyball online? Tignan natin. I'm excited to know. So, with regards to that, since sandwich pala si Quale, okay. So, let's have an agreement. Okay. Ito matinong usapan, children ha. You are all adults now. I hope you would take this seriously. Our class is every 3 p.m. Okay? Our class is every 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I know that some of you will be having some, looking into the future, diba? Hindi po ako si Madam Auring, pero looking into the future, I know that there will be instances whereby you will be having hard time connecting or transferring to your Google Class from one Google Class. Okay? I cannot ask naman the PMLSP, oy, agahan mo sila i-release. I cannot say that. Okay? But to remedy future hurdles, o, di ba? So, preventive tayo. Our quizzes will always start at 3:05. Okay? Would that be good? Our quizzes will always start at 3:05. I will be here even before 3 pa. Okay? But we will be giving everybody a choice, everybody a chance rather, to be here before 3:05. Pagpatak ng 3:05, whether you're here or not, whether we're complete or not, the quiz will begin. Okay? And which led me to my other announcement later about the schedule of quizzes. Okay? So, again ha, 3:05, matinong usapan. I will give you a chance to be here and not be late for the quiz. Basta pag 3:05, everybody should be here complete and ready to take the quiz. Okay, moving on. So all of you, I am expecting that all of you will be participating. Those who are very much quiet during the physical class, it is your time to shine kasi type lang. 'Di ba? And I will be calling some of you then to unmute their mic soon to explain a particular concept. Okay? Third, students shall submit all the course requirement as specified by the faculty instructor. So, all of the things that you saw here kanina, the 5 requirements, yun na lang din naman yung requirements ko. But I'm very much particular with the time, so I'll explain that in a short while. So students shall notify the faculty instructor if there are any connectivity concerns, especially during synchronous discussion. So later, is it possible daw 3:08? Bakit 3:08? I want to know the explanation of the 3:08. What is that 3 minutes for? Break?
Ay sir, open sabi na. Sir, para lang po merong konting po. Baka magkaroon ng further problema.
Okay.
So para safe lang sir, super safe.
Na-OC ako sa 8, di ba? May butal.
310 sir.
Hindi. Tawag dito. But based on experience, I've been doing this in the 3rd year, last semester. 3:05, 5 minutes would be enough, I think. So, the 3:05 will remain. Okay?
Okay sir.
So, with regards naman sa break, don't worry because I give breaks in between classes. Okay, may pa-meditation po tayo dito. Kidding aside, okay? Kidding aside, okay? So, thank you for that. So, kidding aside, let's push through with the policies. Ito ha, guys. Later, by the end of our class, okay, at 5 p.m., I am expecting emails at JA Ganding, okay? I'll put my email so that you'll be able to send me email. So, I want everybody who are expecting future internet connection issues, you know yourselves from last semester. So I want you guys to inform me ahead of time. Sabi ko nga kung gusto, laging may paraan. So I am also opening up my Facebook. You can message me sa Facebook para you can inform me kasi I believe even if your internet will be lost, Messenger minsan free pa, nakakapag-send ka pa ng messages except if you're an Apple user. Pero yun nga, at least we have a contingency plan. So if ever, I always want to be updated beforehand. Okay? If you're expecting issues with your internet, okay? Sir, paano pag biglaan? As soon as possible, I want you guys to inform me, especially during synchronous classes. Okay? Again, okay, let me reiterate this to you guys. Number 4 and number 5 said that it is your responsibility. Okay, it's your accountability to actually inform me if you cannot come in my synchronous or asynchronous classes, if we will ever have one. So I want you guys to be very much responsible in informing me. I always want it to be formal. I always, not formal naman na, dear Keme. Hindi naman ganun, okay? What I'm just trying to say is that I want it to all be documented. Ayun. I want it all to be documented kasi um, I know na so that, di ba, kunwari, nagkaroon ka ng problem sa iba mong professors, nagkaroon ka ng internet connection, I can also vouch for you. Now, oh, sir, talagang even before, nakapag-inform na sila, ganyan-ganyan. So, di ba, para hindi siya lalabas na parang just an excuse for a particular time. It would really be all documented. Okay? So later I'll be expecting 5. I want your I want your last name and then your section and then last name. Okay? The subject should be section and last name. Huwag na kayong nagsisend ng email na walang na walang tawag dito, walang subject. Okay? So section and last name. Okay? In addition to that, okay, number 6, if you are having emergency cases, situation in your family or sickness, do not worry, okay? You can ask around. I have been very much lenient with other last semester with regards to this. I just want it to be formal. I just want it to be a formal excuse letter. Okay? Okay, so what we're doing right now, on orientation, in 3 slides from now, I'll be heading to my online quiz guidelines. So everybody should abide to the CMT virtual classes etiquette. And of course, all the major exams and quizzes will be given the same thing as given during our campus-based quizzes and exams. Okay? So for the virtual classes, so always be punctual. So 3:05 will be here and will be starting officially. Although at 3 p.m. nandito na ako. So if you want to ask questions, chika-chika, no problem. We have 5 minutes. Always come prepared. Okay? Always come prepared. Guys, ganito, no? Quale, sabi ko nga kanina sa inyo, is like a window to your clinical subjects. I want you to, ngayon pa lang second semester, if we can like come up with a good learning strategy and studying technique that you can have, much better. Ngayon nyo na practicein. Diba? Kasi pagdating nyo ng third year, a lot of the students who are going to third year na parang nasya-shock, ganito pala yung third year. I mean, the usual comments, diba? Na, parang hindi ako sanay magbasa ng ganito, hindi ako sanay mag-aral ng from this time to this time. Well, all of those will happen, diba? And I want you to be prepared. Okay? I want you to be prepared. So I always would highly encourage you to be prepared when entering the class. Parang isipin mo na ito na yung major exam. Pasyente na yung kaharap mo. Okay? And of course, di ba, having said na I want you to be prepared, I am not also sugarcoating things na kahit gaano ka minsan kahanda, may gulat pa rin talaga pagdating ng panahon. Okay? But at least, di ba, may mga parte na expected mo na. Alam mo na yung gagawin. Okay? So, sabi nga nila, the best time to be prepared, to be ready was yesterday. The next best time, okay? The next best time to get ready and to prepare yourself is now. Okay? So might as well grab this opportunity. Okay? Always come well-groomed. Okay? Siguro naman, may nakaligo na. Kung hindi pa nakaligo, okay lang yan. Basta tamang suklay at hawi lang ng buhok. That will do the job. So have a neat backdrop because next Monday, I'll be asking you guys to turn on your camera. Okay? So ngayon medyo nagloloko lang din yung internet ko kaya I'm turning off mine. Okay? So see you next Monday. So noise-free space. Of course, I would understand yung mga pakonti-konti, pasulpot-sulpot na ingay. Pero yung tuloy-tuloy naman, okay, wag ganun. So no eating, no smoking. Sir, can I drink my coffee during your class? Of course, you can drink coffee. Okay, I am also very much aware, okay, that 3 p.m. is the darkest hour. Okay, nag-aagaw ang liwanag at dilim. Okay, may mga tumitirik ng mata kasi may mga nag-headbang na marahil behind the camera. But 3 p.m., okay, you are free to drink your coffee, iced coffee man yan, or what. 'Di ba? You can share it to the class, ano yung recipe mo. Okay? Having said that, okay, no playing with house pet. Pagpadaan-daan si Muning at saka yung mga aso ninyo, chill-chill lang sila dyan, okay? Kung ibang pet pa yung mga ano, so you know na what to do, okay? Aside from that, use English language in explaining your answers and asking your questions most of all the time. Okay? All the time. So avoid multitasking. Okay? Avoid multitasking because we will not be able to accomplish talaga if you would like do everything all at the same time. Okay? Siguro wala naman nagpi-PE habang klase ko, 'di ba? Wala naman nagpi-PE habang klase ko. And of course, aside from that, avoid multitasking because a lot of we will only be meeting once a week, guys, 'di ba? Isipin mo na lang parang jowa mo to na once a week lang kayo nagkikita. Gusto mo ba 'yun? 'Di ba? May jowa ka tapos iba nagso-swipe left and right pa doon sa gilid. Of course you don't want that, okay? I want your full attention 3 to 5 p.m. every Monday, okay? And of course, use effective and respectful communication in all your engagement, and of course, during recitation. And also, if your classmates are also raising their questions or answering a particular query. So, in addition to that, okay, have a neat appearance. So, for male, short hair, no earrings. Okay? Short hair, no earrings. Hindi ko alam sino na yung mga ermitanyo mula nung March kasi hindi pa nakakapagpagupit. But I would totally understand. So, you can just tie your hair, comb it neatly, okay? Gamit ka ng pomada or ng gel, okay? Kung hindi ka pa naliligo, the oil will do its job. Hair, no loud facial cosmetics, wala yung humihiyaw at nagsusumigaw na mga makeup, okay? Saka malayo pa yung foundation day, okay? So i-reserve nyo sila doon, okay? So hair colors as well. So when I ask you to turn on your camera, okay, guys, you're nearing the clinical years, okay? So yung mga buhok na kailangan ng itimin at itiman, gawin na, okay? Hinay-hinayin mo na, di ba? So, no nail polish for the ladies. Okay? No nail polish for the ladies. And of course, wear decent and smart casual clothes. For male and female, shirt, round neck with collars, and pants and foot covers. Sir, pati pants and foot cover, chine-check. Siyempre, pag tumayo ka, siguraduhin mo hindi ko makikita kung hindi ganyan yung suot mo. Okay? For the male, specifically, and also for some of you girls, ha, I don't want students coming into my class na nakasando at naka-spaghetti. Hindi po ito workout class, okay? Hindi po ito online workout, okay? So, I have students before kasi medyo mainit ang 3 p.m., di ba? Nakasando. Ang pagfe-flex, gawin ninyo sa ibang araw at sa ibang pagkakataon. Okay, hindi po kasama dun sa tatlong pinag-usapan natin, quale, hindi kasama sa QA, instrumentation at lab entrep ang pagfe-flex. So, no sandos, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So far, am I clear? I'll discuss to you the quizzes already and the exams. Are there any questions? Meron bang katanungan? Are there any questions? Okay, am I back? Hello? Nakabalik na po ba ako?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. So, may tanong ba? Can I see a raise of hands if we are clear? Okay, thank you so much. O, di ba meron mga moment na nawawala tayo, napupunta ako sa Asgard. So, nawawala bigla yung internet connection ko. Okay, for the online quiz guideline. So, wala naman masyadong new. I just want to reinforce some of this. So, quizzes, ayan, lalabas ko na lahat para ma-check ko kung nawawala ako dun sa Google Meet. Okay. So, with regards to our quizzes, okay. Oops. With regards to our quizzes, ladies and gentlemen, okay, quizzes will be administered in through your Tua Learning Cloud. So again, I want everybody to check, okay, I want everybody to check your statement of account and your TLC kung yung subject na nandyan ay parehas nung nandun sa listahan ng isa. Dapat vice versa, they are parallel. Okay, quizzes can be accessed only through your TUA Learning Cloud. The required equipment will be a laptop. Okay, I would highly suggest talaga na laptop para hindi rin kayo nai-stress. Okay, so all quizzes shall be timed. Okay, 30 seconds to 1 minute for multiple choice and identification question. And for our computation and essay, you will be given 1 to 5 minutes. Okay? You will be given 1 to 5 minutes. Okay. Next, quizzes should be finished within the allotted time. So if the quiz is finished, if the quiz already commenced, okay, if the quiz already commenced, you will no longer be given the chance. Okay? So 3:05 is 3:05. Pag na-late ka pa, you'll be able to take the remaining time of the quizzes. Okay? Not the entire time, syempre. Backtracking is not allowed. Okay? Pag nag-move on ka na, wag mo nang balikan. Okay? Pag natapos na, wag mo nang pilitin pang balikan. Okay? So backtracking is not allowed. Although I might give you like take for example in one page you'll be able to see 3 questions so that you'll be able to like answer 3 questions and review 3 questions, di ba? So students shall remain logged in to the Google Meet during the entire duration of the quiz. So I would need an explanation kapag nawala ka bigla dito. Okay, so Google Meet camera should also be open during the entire quiz. So make sure that your cameras are open for the entire period of the quiz. Later, the orientation of the camera, I'll be giving you a picture to follow. So background noise, make sure na nakamute lahat ng mic, okay? Wala kasi 'di ba meron tayong moments na nagku-quiz. There was one time sabi ko sige nga pa-on ko yung camera so that alam ko baka may nag-video call. Aba parang sabay-sabay na nagmo-murmur yung naririnig ko. So wag na po natin gagawin 'yan. Okay, just turn off your mic. Only one attempt is allowed, okay? You are given only one chance to take the quiz, one attempt only. And then once you submitted it, answers are already final. So missed quizzes will result to a zero mark. So what do I mean by missed quizzes? Sir, can you elaborate? Missed quizzes means, take for example, 3:05, dumating ka, tapos na yung quiz. Okay, you don't have valid excuses, nakalimutan mo lang talagang ngayon may quali ka. Of course, that is unexcusable. Take for example, sir, paano pag may reason naman? Pero hindi mo na-remind si Sir Ganding, hindi mo na-email or na-message si Sir Ganding within the day, okay? So you have until Monday, 11:59, hindi mo na-message, nakalimutan mo. You will not be able to take a quiz. You will be having a zero mark, okay? That is clear, ha? We will no longer have any negotiation about this. So once you are late, you miss the entire quiz, you will not be able to take the exam. Sir, if ever I have internet connection problem, like concerns, emergency situation, any reasonable excuses, I would accept it. But make sure that you will be able to inform me as soon as possible or within the day. Okay? So I hope that's clear. So again, it's your responsibility, children, to inform me if you were not able to take the quiz, if there were errors or problems encountered during the quiz. Okay? Hindi po tayo yung, uy, mag-exam ka naman na, di ba? We will not be nagging you to take the quiz. You are adults already, you know, and you should monitor all the things that you are missing. Okay? So for the fourth one, take for example, okay, you missed the quiz, and then I've given you an opportunity, a chance to take it because your excuse was reasonable, then we will be having an oral revalida. Okay? We'll be having an oral revalida. So make sure that you will always remember these guidelines on the quizzes. Are there any questions so far? May tanong?
Sir, I have question po.
Go.
Sir, as ko lang po, bakit po ba bawal yung backtracking?
Okay, let me just explain the backtracking. If you have experienced the exams through Schoology before, the time is per question. Okay? The time is per question. So, kapag per question yung timer, we are sure na you only really will be spending 1 minute there. Kunwari, 30 seconds or 1 minute. The problem kasi with the Moodle, wala tayo nung per item. So, take for example, I give you 15 items quiz. You take that for 10 minutes. You have the liberty to make use of the 10 minutes. Okay? To answer it honestly, one of the reason why we don't allow backtracking is that we don't have a browser blocker. We don't have Respondus or SEB. It's not working for everybody kasi. That's just the reality. It's not working for everyone. So, and to prevent you guys, okay, to prevent and also para mawala yung temptation for you to go around and look for answers aside from those that you know, those that you reviewed. We are discouraging the backtracking. Okay? So, kunwari, you really need to manage your time very well during the exams. And one of the reason pa kasi doon is that even if it is randomized, guys, no, you are having the same test questions. So take for example, hindi ko muna sasagutan yung tanong na ganito. So, alam mo yon, yung parang it's just hindi sa nagtatamang hinala ang faculty. It's just that we're preventing you guys from having that temptation na, okay, I have a lot of time, I can just go over it again and then, open my notes, open whatever I can open. So, yun yung reason. Again, I hope you won't feel na parang we're against you na, kasi itong mga to, nag-cheat, ganyan. It's not that, okay? It's more on preventing you to be tempted to do that. Okay? So, I hope I made myself clear with that.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
Kaya ako, actually, before, one question per page talaga ako. So, talagang no backtracking. And a lot of the students actually came to me na sabi, sir, medyo mahirap, ganyan. That's why I opted to have, like, take for example, in one page, you'll be able to see 3 to 5 questions. Para at least, pag nasagutan mo na yung 3 to 5, you can manage your time. Okay, I'll review this first before moving on to the next page. Okay? So the backtracking, in a sense, is not allowed per page. But in a sense, if we're gonna be more technical about it, you can backtrack. Kasi meron kang 3 tanong, you can go back to the questions pa. Okay? But with the backtracking per page, not allowed. Okay? So, yun. So, for the ayan, are there any questions pa before I move on? Are there any questions?
Wala na po, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So with regards to the major exams, there will only be 3 major exams. 1 prelim, midterm, and finals. If you have checked your TLC, you have your calendar there. I already put the dates, the date of quizzes, long quizzes, lahat nandun na. So I would later, pagpatapos na tayo, I'll coach you how to do that para, sir, bakit may syllabus? Bakit pa ako may calendar of lecture activities? How will I work with this? Later, explain ko sa inyo how will those things help you. Okay? So, prelim, midterms, and finals. After the midterms, you will be having a health break. That is a 1-week health break. So, that is from, I think, March 29 to April 2. April 3. Yan. Okay, well, we have a health break. Okay, time allotment will still be the same, 1 hour and 30 minutes. So for multiple choice question, that would be part 1. Identification, a mixture of that will be in the part 2. So students who will miss an examination, either one or both parts of it, would need to immediately submit a formal letter of explanation within the same day, 11:59 p.m., informing me of the reason why they were not able to finish the said exam. So no makeup exam shall be given to student who fail to inform their instructor. Okay? Moving forward, on number 6, unless announced, examinations will follow. Unless announced, okay, examination will follow the remaining guidelines for the online quizzes. So the camera setup should be like this. Okay. Questions I encountered since last week during my orientation. Sir, paano pag iPad gamit ko? Pag naglilipat ako ng tab, my camera automatically shuts off. What can I do? Should I have two cameras turned on or what? So me guys, if you can have this very angle where I can see you, diba? I can see your desk and also your monitor, then that is perfectly fine with me already. Okay? You can just use one camera provided that this is the orientation. Pag hindi kaya, two cameras uh, would be needed. Sir, what if I don't have webcam, extra webcam? What can I do? You can use your cell phones, okay? You can use your cell phones. You can buy a cell phone stand, or you can just pile up some books there and then put your phone there so that you'll be able to have an orientation like this. Okay? Sir, ano pa yung mga pwedeng are there any concerns pa with the orientation of the camera? Now will be the best time for you to raise them. Okay, meron pa ba?
Sir,
Yes?
kailangan po nakikita po talaga yung buong place po ng, kunwari po, yung laptop talaga, as in yung buo po. Hindi po pwedeng side view po.
Okay, thank you for that, Justin. Not the side. If, take for example, kung side ha, pero kita ko naman yung monitor. The purpose kasi is for the monitor. I don't know if you guys can recall, nung GA natin, it was actually mentioned that the PRC is actually looking into having your online board exam. So, think of it like a preparation for that. Okay, whether mag-physical boards or online boards, you guys are ready. So, in short, babalikan ko yung tanong ni Justin, as much as possible, the one I can see, parang ganito, the one that you are seeing in the camera, in the picture right now. Okay? Ganyan. Kasi I experienced one, no, Justin, meron nga nakaganyan. So, naka-block lang. Hindi ko nakikita kung ano yung nasa screen niya. Okay? Secondly, I also have experienced one, may camera nga, naka-angle, pero nakatalikod siya. Tinatakpan niya din lahat. So, yun din siya. Okay? So, hopefully that would settle it. Okay? Para at least, ayan, we will not be receiving any concerns from the students na, sir, yung sila ganito, ginagawa yung ganyan. Diba? Para lahat nababantayan. Okay? So, can I move on? Can I see a raise of hand kung wala ng concern?
Sir?
And if we can move on. Yes. Yes, yes.
Isang Gmeet lang po ba yung bubuksan, yung sa cellphone lang po na naka-on ng cam, or pati yung laptop din po naka-Gmeet?
Okay. As much as possible, both. 'Di ba? Yun nga yung sinasabi natin kanina na two cameras. But if in case, take for example, kaya mo naman na ganitong setup. Okay? Kunwari, Kat, you're taking an exam, tapos ito na, yung setup mo, ganito na talaga, isang camera pa lang. I think this would suffice. That would be good. Okay?
Okay po. Thank you, sir.
Oo. Pero kung siguro, no, para siguro future thinking lang din. Kasi 'di ba mahirap mag-check ng messages sa ng Google Meet. Kasi 'di ba doon lumalabas yung announcements, corrections, passwords. So I think you might need to open it in your laptop for your convenience lang. Para walang friction na you're on the laptop tapos you're gonna check the other device and then laptop, other device, 'di ba? So, ayun. So, moving forward, kung wala, may tanong pa ba? Are there any questions? Can I see a raise of hand now if everything is clear and we can move on? Okay. So, moving on for the announcement of suspension, class suspensions, guys. Okay, I want you to be very much responsible. With regards to the class suspensions, always wait for the official announcement of TUA. Okay? Always wait for the official announcement of TUA. You have PAO, a FISMET officer, so you can communicate with her into getting details about the progress of a particular announcement. But siguro what I want to specify here is that most of the universities are in Manila. Iilan lang yung nasa Quezon City. So kapag nag-suspend si Mayor Isko, wag naman agad-agad na nagsasana all at kung ano-anong kaguluhan ang ginagawa natin online. Okay, let's wait for the official announcement before anything else. Okay? So alam naman nating lahat na medyo minsan it takes forever before our joy announce something. So let's wait for it. Okay, maghintay. Okay, and aside from that, Trinity University of Asia has a very special way of announcing the class suspension, and we also have specified class suspensions already. So there will be time na synchronous classes lang yung suspended. Meron ding time na talagang walang klase na kukuha. So wait for further announcements. Okay? Yung suspension sa atin, it would mean two things. Is it a suspension of synchronous classes but asynchronous class will push through? Or is it a suspension of all types of modality? Okay? We have to make sure of that first. Okay? So, with that being said, thank you so much for listening, guys. So, these are my consultation hours. If you want to consult something, hindi po ako doktor, unahin na natin yun at sa lahat. Hindi rin po ako si Papa Jack kung naabutan niyo pa siya. If you have any academic concerns, advising that you need with our course, feel free to message me, okay, to set an appointment with me. Mondays and Fridays, 1:30 to 3 p.m. and Tuesdays and Fridays, 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So, with that being said, I would require every one of you to please answer this survey so that I will be able to have an idea who among you have strong, medium, and super fast sonic internet connection. Okay, para doon tayo magkaklase sa inyo, hindi po. Para alam lang natin. So please do answer this survey form and this will also serve as your attendance for today. So if you don't have any questions or clarifications, I'll stop the recording already. Sir, do we have any specific textbook po? Okay, very good question. Do we have like a specific book na bibilhin? There is none. Okay? Why, sir? Because as I mentioned, our course is actually bits and pieces of different subjects. Sir, with regards to the book, wala akong ipapabili sa inyo. But just this morning, Ma'am Nell and I were talking about the references that you will be needing. We actually have like yung parang taga-cut ng you will only be receiving chapter of a particular book. Ganon. So we'll be providing you with that. Okay? If you can access Henry's already, if you can have a copy of Henry's, very good. You can have a copy of that. If you don't have a copy, please, Justin, inform mo ko. I actually have a library of ebooks. I can share that with you guys. Okay? I have books naman I can share with you. So if you need books, ayan, message lang. I'll be giving you access to that. Okay, and then you can download whatever you want to download. Wala pong Wattpad doon, okay? Wala din pong series, mga academic books lang. Okay? So, can you start replying okay here if you're finished answering the Google form? By the way, for those of you who are not yet enrolled, it's fine. You can take a photo of your ID and yun yung isend ninyo dun sa dulong part ng Okay? So I'll be waiting for the everybody to finish, and then I'll just have a few announcements. I will give you until 4:35 to finish the form. Thank you. Okay, I hope everybody is finished answering. So since it's already 4:35, okay, I'll be giving you na lang the remaining 30 minutes for you to rest and prepare for your PE. So on Monday, please prepare for Monday. So I will be I will be starting my lecture on Monday. So we'll be having the first lecture already on Monday. So 3:05. I hope everybody will be here already. Okay? Do not worry about the flow of the topics. Basta the dates there might change, but there will be mahahabol ko 'yan. Okay? So yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin. Baka some of you are worried about it. Okay? So I'll stop the recording now. So